started the Impact Failure Conclave in 2018, and this was primarily a culmination of efforts internally within the organization to bring out some of the learnings from the programs, projects that we've deployed over time. And we realized that this was not easy at all. I mean, these were conversations which were not only difficult to have, for various reasons. I think in many cases it's also a lot of times the backgrounds that people come from, especially in India, I think, failing is considered the most negative thing ever. It's not celebrated, it's not positively defined. And I think we've always been keen on that internally within the organization, especially with the partners that we work with. And we've been in a very lucky position to have partners that support us to actually document, share failures, to share learnings very actively and very openly, so that we can get to somewhere more positive as a sector, as society. How do we make sure that we are failing forward? How do we make sure that we are failing more productively? How do we make sure that we are failing better? So that we just get to better outcomes much faster, right? And I think when we started it, we initially said, this is not about energy or climate alone. This is a topic that cuts across and spans across segments, sectors, different types of people, different types of end user segments. So that's when we actually originated the idea of Impact Failure 2018.
And I think it was also coming from a lot of our experiences internally as well. Because often when we were ourselves designing programs, we'd be asked questions by more senior colleagues being like, this was already done in 1990s, 1980s, and haven't you learned from that yet? But even if you find documentation for a lot of programs, online or speakers talking about it, there is a tendency to talk about what worked only. And, because the next steps of that is going to be based on how successful you were, not what you learned. And that meant that a lot of the younger generation in the development sector was going to make the same mistakes again and again, which was very frustrating. So it was also coming from that point where we said we need to bring failures in the forefront. And as Huda said, I think one of the things which was very clear to us that we didn't want to make it something about my personal journey only. So it wasn't about how I coped with the failure, but really kind of bringing about that who failed in the end, who did we fail? And why is it important for us to extract exactly why we fail so we as a sector move forward? So that was something that we felt that, there were, we really needed to align speakers and everyone who was participating with that. And I think that's what we learned from also. And that's what got everyone excited about the topic, because you weren't understanding how I failed as a person, but what I learned. So it becomes more exciting.
So join us November 25th and 26th at IIM Bangalore at the Impact Failure 22.